Every report needs to have these two basic things. And if your report doesn't have these two things, it's probably not as useful as a decision-making tool. If you're a beginner in analytics, this video is going to save you a ton of time and frustration, so be sure to watch it till the end. So over the years, I've seen a lot of users from Google Analytics struggle with working with data. Sometimes working with data can feel very overwhelming. It feels like you need 2 years of training before you can get anything useful out of it. So the scoreboard framework is a simple 5-minute exercise that can help you make working with data easy and fun again. It's a powerful tool that can help you make better decisions without the need for enormous amounts of data. And I believe that if you turn this exercise into a habit, you can use it to make progress on goals across all areas of your life, not just on your website. All right, let's go. Welcome to the channel. My name is Leon. This channel exists to help you make better decisions in your daily work using your analytics data. If you like what I'm doing, please click the like and subscribe buttons down below. That really helps me get this video out to as many people as I can. This is the second video in a series that I'm doing on the scoreboard framework. And in last week's video, we covered the first step of the analytics scoreboard framework, which is establishing a clear goal. And we're filling out this scoreboard analytics framework PDF. There's a link in the video description if you want to follow along or use it on your own site. And last week I gave this scoreboard a name. I called it the website scoreboard because I'm analyzing a website that I kind of made up for this example. I set the date range and I filled in the goal. And the goal of this website is to gather job applications and to gather new talent, because the organization that this website belongs to, there's a lack of employees and it's hindering the growth of the company. So gathering job applications is very important. And that was the first step of the scoreboard framework, is to establish a clear goal for analysis. The second step is to turn that goal into something that we can measure. How are we going to keep score of our site? And there are two sections here, and these are the two things that every report needs, in my opinion. It's the inputs and the outputs. Let's first cover the outputs, because the outputs are the things that we want to measure and we want to monitor, that give us insight in the performance of the site, that give us insight in if our goal is working or not. So the goal of this site is to get a job application. So the first thing that I'm going to measure is just the amount of job applications. And I'm going to fill out the first output metric. How am I going to keep score of this site? What I'm going to monitor? Well, I'm going to monitor the job applications. So how many job applications did I have yesterday, last week, last month? That's what I want to monitor. And I do have 2 slots available. I do not need to use these slots, but for many websites, I like to also keep an eye on the amount of visitors. And in analytics that's called users. And I also like to keep an eye on the average time on site. So those are the outputs. And the outputs represent the result that we want to see. So we're going to keep an eye on job applications, amount of visitors, average time on site. And then we also have inputs. And inputs represents the things that we put into it in order to get the outputs. So on many sites you have budget available. So it's just the amount of money. And many sites take a lot of time. So for instance, days per week from you or your colleagues. And then there's a third slot available that you can use, for instance, if you have something recurring that you do every week, every month. For instance, you write a new blog post every other day in order to grow the amount of organic visitors on your site. Then maybe the amount of blog posts that you write is something that you want to keep an eye on. And these are the 2 things that every report needs in order to be a good decision-making tool, because stating the inputs and the outputs gives you clear overview of the performance. Sometimes your outputs are doing great, but then the inputs, you're spending way too much money on advertising, or you're spending way too much money on development. Well then, yeah, you're getting the outputs that you want, but you're spending way too much money. And you need to make your operation a lot more efficient. By keeping an eye on the inputs and outputs, you can make the best decisions on where you spend your time, your energy and your money the best. Alright, that's it for today. Next week we're going to continue with the next video on the scoreboard framework. And in that video we're going to cover 3 simple ways you can use to set targets that are both ambitious but also realistic and attainable. If you haven't done already and you want to follow along, there's a link in the video description to the PDF document that you can use to use the scoreboard framework on your own site. Alright, I hope you have a great day. See you in the next video. Goodbye.